Happy Thanksgiving weekend. I hope everybody's having a good time. The weather's beautiful. The vibe is giving. I love it. So I just wanted to pop on and talk about the power of our power because it's amazing how just by being you, you can influence and help people move so much energy. It is just but we don't think of it that way. We think of things as like little tithings and little gifts, but they are so much more than that sometimes. Sometimes it's the energetic value, it's the heartfelt value that comes from these things. It's it's the thought that counts. And that is the theme. It's the thought that counts, right? So, speaking of the power and having the power, and not knowing you have the power, I have two beautiful stories to share about this. So number one has to do with Thanksgiving and was inspired by one of my bestest of all friends and neighbor, and she's like one of the most beautiful souls and hearts that I have ever met in my life. So loving, so giving, and she inspired such a chain reaction through her Thanksgiving givings. I don't think she understands the power that she holds. So she was down in the dumps, and I'm sorry, I'm going to tell her story a little bit, but I don't think she'll mind, because I'm going to tell her about it later anyways. But she was down in the dumps for a little bit, as we all do sometimes, and she decided that she wanted to pick herself up by making these like beautiful little Thanksgiving tithings for our little community of neighbors that we have going on in our complex. And she told me about them, and honestly, it kind of inspired and intrigued me. I was like, ooh, I should do something like that. But then the thought kind of left because I got busy doing everything else. And then like about a week later, she came through and like started gathering all the stuff for her bags. And then I think in the following week, she made the bags and then she handed them out. So we're talking like a good 2 weeks span of time from the idea to the conception to the giving. And she gave it to me like, man, I would give this woman the moon and the stars if I could, because she's just such a wonderful person and a great support of a human being. But when she gave me my bag, I really wanted to return the favor, because that's one of my love languages, is I'm a giver of things. It comes from my people-pleasing tendencies. But if you're doing it to please others, then it's not in your power. But if you're doing it because it pleases you to do so, then that's kind of in your power, right? So I really wanted to return the favor, and I didn't really have much to work with in life. So I threw together a little something. And when I threw together that little something, it inspired me because I had multiple of this something, and I threw it together solely for her. But then I was like, no, I got lots, so I'm going to make multiples for everybody else, right? Seems like the thing, because I want to give my appreciation out just like she did. Like, it inspired me to do so, right? So I did. I gave her hers, and I gave our other neighbors stuff, and that inspired our other neighbors to do the same thing. They gave back in return, and it's the most beautiful return, because these things are not huge things, but they have so much beautiful value. Like in this bag, she gave a cookie and some candy corn, and then a little mini bag for like a simmer pot. So there's orange peels and pine and cranberries. So it's all about intention, really, right? Little note with everything, little wealth fish. Love it. So that in turn inspired me to give out hot chocolate and mugs, which turned and inspired our neighbor across the way to hand out homemade baked goods. And then another neighbor came and brought me French toast. So like, this has just been the gift that's been going, and it's all inspired by her, which is so beautiful. So the second story that I wanted to share about the power that we have to move energy and sometimes not even know it. I had taken my daughter to the hospital, like to the emergency room here a week ago or so. And the way our emergency room is set up, there's these 4 white chairs against a wall for our triage patients, and then the rest of the waiting room is for whomever brings them in / whoever gets registered and has to wait in the waiting area, right? but there's like these 4 chairs for triage. And my daughter was in like chair number 3, and then this other lady came in and sat in chair number 4. So they went through the first 2 people into the triage space. And like honestly, I've been here a couple of times before, and I've seen the setup, and not a lot of people understand how the setup works, and that's okay. So my daughter's sitting there, and there's 2 empty chairs ahead of her while this other person's getting attended to. And she and I have been texting on our phones this whole time, like sending memes and everything, because that's what we do. And I texted her, and I was like, hey, I bet you if you just got up and moved down to the next, like to the first seat or whatever, that chickie beside you would follow suit. And she did. And of course, Chickie did. And so then I texted Charlie, I was like, look at that. The power of like movement. You got the line to move because you chose to move. Because honestly, that lady that was behind my daughter, like she was a younger girl too, but there was like nothing in her to get up and go or whisper to my daughter and say, could you move down? Or like there was no movement from her end. And at the time there was no movement from my daughter until I kind of put the seed and planted the seed. And when we first got there, there was nobody at the station because it was like really, really, really late at night. And there's nobody at the station. And like she was sitting there in the chair, this other girl was sitting there in the chair, and this other couple had come in, and they didn't even sit in the chairs, the triage chairs, so they just sat in the other space. So all of us are waiting to be seen, and nothing's happening for a good half an hour. So I took it upon myself to get up and see what goes on. I walked over to the triage station, and there was a bell and a little note that says ring bell for service. And I was like, had I not gone up to ring that bell, that lady wouldn't have come, and we wouldn't have been able to carry on with our night. So this is what I'm saying about like, there's small little things that we don't think are big things, but they are huge things. Everything that we do in this world matters. It cogs, connections, I don't know, that was my Thanksgiving thoughts. So I just wanted to pop on and share some gratitude about the gratitude that has been shared my way, because without this small community that we have built, I don't know if I would have made it this far. Like, I am very grateful for these units and these people that live inside of these units, and how we take care of each other and support each other and help each other out. It's amazing, and I love it. And yeah, thanks so much. Have a great day.